Hey, what's going on? Ed Baker here, founder at ContentMaxima.com. Today in this video, we are going to cover our analysis module, which is a content strategy module. It's going to help you build blueprints, regardless of whether you're doing SEO or social media marketing, pay-per-click advertising, voice, AI, or any machine learning. Basically, any type of algorithm that's using natural language processing, this module is going to help you design a perfect content strategy before any algorithm is applied. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to give you a quick presentation on my beliefs in content optimization and omni-channel marketing, and then I'm going to show you how this software works for you. So here we go. So again, ContentMaxima.com. We are a desktop application at this point. We're using Python and OpenAI, but I'm sure you've heard of things like, authority mapping softwares or topical mapping softwares, especially if you do SEO. Our software is completely different. It's looking at content from a data science approach. No one else in the market is utilizing the methods that we are. We're not just clustering keywords and looking at SERPs, search engine result pages, right? So what we're doing is we're optimizing a content strategy at the data level. We're looking at edges and nodes and how data is stored in a graphical database, right? So Content Maxima came to be because we needed to have a blueprint in order to define authority. And again, that's regardless of whether we were doing SEO or social media or pay-per-click or anything, right? Any omni-channel effort we had, we needed a way to develop a strategy that would be gold. So the analysis module is going to enable you to develop a blueprint of authority. So let's talk about content optimization for a second. Let me give you a little bit of background on how I view it. So essentially, you have people in the world who are obsessed with SEO. They're obsessed with their on-page, they're obsessed with their off-page, they're obsessed with their Google business profiles. They try to optimize their tier 1 properties. So we're talking like Blogger and WordPress and Tumblr and Medium and any type of content-based platform, as well as social media, right? And then they're amplifying all of that with paid advertising on social media, pay-per-click through Google, any of that stuff. It's all tied together with something called schema or schematic architecture. You can go to schema.org to learn more if you've never heard of this before, but essentially it lets you, with your website property, it lets you claim your social media properties and, your business profiles all around the web, whether they're Chamber of Commerce listings or directory listings or social media profiles. You can basically say to Google or to any type of, machine learning that's looking at your brand and crunching your brand data, you can say to it, hey, these are my assets, and you can put that in the schema code, which all of that brand data is then crunched by something called NLP, natural language processing. Once it's crunched by NLP, an understanding of what your brand has to offer is then, it's understood, right? And then at that point, whether it's SEO or it's social media or again, machine learning or AI, then these big tech companies can apply their algorithms to that data, to that understanding. So the concept behind Content Maxima and our analysis module was to build a blueprint that would enable you to optimize your content and your brand before any algorithm is applied. So we're at the data science level, we're at the edge and node level within a graph database. So we are targeting the NLP, which is basically the interface of language, like what us humans speak, and then computers and how they, understand things, right? NLP is that interface. It's that cable. It's that connector. However you want to look at it. It basically tells all of these robots, all of this machine learning, AI, SEO, social media algorithms what we're about and what we do. So we targeted NLP and we figured out how to feed natural language processing exactly what they need to hear, right? What the robot needs to hear. We're giving it a definition, or we're basically reverse engineering the blueprint so that when you go to build any type of content strategy, you have a precise plan that works for the robot and is completely understood by the robot. So the final thing I'm going to tell you before I jump into the software and give you a demo on this analysis module is that this is all based in computational linguistics. It's a really, sounds like a big fancy concept, sounds like I'm, blowing smoke, but at the end of the day, what we're talking about is the data science behind language that then is fed to all of these algorithms, regardless of the platform you're on, through natural language processing. So I hope this makes sense. This is how big tech is analyzing your brand online. Again, it doesn't matter if you're writing articles or making social media posts or, putting out press releases or pay-per-click ads. Like, all of those things are being assessed by natural language processing. So if we optimize to NLP, you have a perfect content strategy. So we're the first software on the market that's going after an NLP optimization. We're not worried about search engines. We're not worried about clustering. We're not worried about those singular things. We're taking this holistic view of any technology that's using NLP, and we're optimizing to that. So that being said, let me show you how this software works, the analysis module specifically. So first things first, you'll have to download the application from our website, contentmaxima.com. You'll get your license key through AppSumo, and then you'll have to head over to platform.openai.com to get your OpenAI API key. Once you've downloaded the software, it'll be a zip file. You're going to unzip it to the location of your preference. When you open the application for the first time, your Windows machine, again, this only works on Windows machines at the moment, but we hope to have it working on Mac as well as up in the cloud eventually with your support. It will warn you that we are not a trusted publisher. You're going to say run anyway. You're also going to disable any type of virus scanner or firewall or security applications you may have running because they could interfere. We're using Python and OpenAI technology to run this application. When the software opens, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on the analysis module. It's going to ask you to input your OpenAI, your license key for Content Maxima first. So let me do that. And then the second thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to settings, otherwise it'll prompt you. But if you just go to settings and you click OpenAI, you'll put in your OpenAI API key. Again, if you don't do this ahead of time, when you go to run your first analysis, it will prompt you and you'll put it in at that point in time. So once you have your license in, your OpenAI API key in, your software will be ready to run. You'll put in your primary idea. It could be a concept, it could be an entity, it could be a keyword, could be a brand name, anything that's really high on the, I guess we'll say the entity spectrum or the idea spectrum. You want it to be the top level keyword that you're after or concept that you're after. We don't want to get too specific because ultimately this is going to break down a greater concept into a full strategy for you. So if you get too specific, it might not be able to break down that strategy in a way that's useful for you. So the example I'm going to run is going to be BLT sandwich. So the idea behind this is I want to be the authority. I want to develop a content strategy for BLT sandwich recipes. So the first question this asks you is the number of related terms that you would like. I highly suggest to start off if you're a small brand, if you're a local business, to input 25. Basically, your primary concept or idea is BLT sandwich, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the 25 closest data points within a graph database or within, these databases that feed big tech algorithms, what the definition of a BLT sandwich is. So these are one hop away from that primary idea. The second tier is, for example, if we have a BLT sandwich, if one of the nodes that's one hop away is bacon, then what's one hop away from bacon? So your second tier is saying how many of those would you like to have? So I'm going to say 5. So we're basically going to do 25 and then 5. Now you can run as many as you'd like. This is very much based on your needs. It's very much based on whether you're going for a local term or a local idea, a small town idea, smaller market idea, or if you're going for national, you might need much more data. You're going to need more nodes. You're going to need more information on your concept in order to become the authority on this. And again, this is regardless of whether you're doing SEO or social or AI or anything. So this is going to run 25 nodes and then 5 nodes for each of those 25 nodes that all relate to BLT sandwich. Right now, here you can select your model. You'll be able to select 3.5 turbo or 4. GPT-4 is the preferred model because it has 5 times the comprehension of GPT 3.5. So some of you with a fresh new OpenAI account will not be able to access GPT-4. But with a little bit of use and paying them with your credit card and getting credits and all of that, you'll establish a reputation. You'll get GPT-4 and you'll be able to run it through our software. So this is the recommended model that you should use. It's going to get you the best results because the comprehension and the way that we engineered the software talks to GPT-4 best. It's still entirely useful with GPT 3.5. It's just a little bit more messy. The data is not quite as clean and the report will not be quite as clean. So if you can, please use GPT-4. You'll get the absolute best results here. So let's go ahead and start this. So I'm going to open this console window so you can see what's happening. So it is finding the 25 nodes from a data perspective within the database that are connected to BLT sandwich. Once this is done, it's going to export an Excel spreadsheet for us that we can open and then see the secondary nodes within. So this is a prioritization of the most important topics, and the Excel spreadsheet that we have will be exported into the analysis scans folder. We get a little prompt that tells us, hey, the execution is completed. We say, okay, here's that file. Let's open that. So you'll see here, and it's going to alphabetize the nodes or the content that matters most in your strategy. Just to make this easy to look at first, I'm just going to right click and I'm going to go to this expand collapse within Excel and I'm going to say collapse entire field. So now you'll see these are the 25 most important concepts in a content strategy. Again, regardless of whether you're doing SEO or pay-per-click or social media posts or anything. Training your own model, doing machine learning, doing AI, recommendations, voice, anything that's using NLP. These are the topics that have to be fed to the robots in order for you to have authority at the data level. So I would have easily come up with things like bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich, lettuce, tomato, toasting or toasted bread. All of those ideas are very easy, but the ones that I wouldn't have come up with, to be honest with you, are things like establishing a BLT as American cuisine. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's just not something I would have come up with on my own. So seeing that here, seeing that that data is pulled is, you know, super helpful, and just something that I would have never gotten on my own. I don't know if you would have, but I'm not an expert on BLT sandwiches. It's just a basic example that we all understand, which is why I'm using it. So this is your seed keyword or your entity or your concept or your theme or whatever you're after. These are the most important supporting one-hop concepts away from your primary seed term. So if you were doing an SEO strategy, you would want to have a page about each one of these. If you were doing social media posts, if you would want to talk about each one of these things. If we open one of these elements, these primary nodes that's collapsed, it shows us the secondary nodes. So if we were developing a content strategy for a website, let's say, you would have to have a page on American cuisine as a part of establishing authority to become the authority on a BLT sandwich. Now, on that American cuisine page, we would want to mention things like apple pie, barbecue ribs, fried chicken, hamburger, and hot dog, in addition to BLT, right? These are the secondary entities or the secondary nodes that support the idea of American cuisine. Now, if you're in a really competitive niche, or if you're going for, national domination with your brand, you're going to need a lot more than 25 pages of content, and you might have to go one step further with your strategy, right? So instead of just having a page on American cuisine, I'm going to also have to have a page on apple pie, a complete page that talks all about apple pie, a complete page about barbecue ribs, same thing with fried chicken, hamburger, hot dog, right? And then I still need that page on American cuisine, because these pages, these concepts, reinforce the idea of American cuisine, which then reinforces the idea of BLT sandwich. So these are those, trigger words or the content blueprint that you need to establish authority. And again, this is at the data level. Other softwares out there that say that they establish topical authority, or they'll generate you a content map or an authority map. It's great and all. They're using search engine result pages. They're using, I guess SEO type data, right, to establish this. But we're using database. We're using data science. We're using one hop away from an idea in a database. So this is very different on how our software functions. And the definition of authority, as far as we're concerned, is you have to define a concept in order for a robot to trust you, right? So if I can define the concept to the definition that the robot has when it processes my social media posts or my articles or, my Google business posts or, anything that I have on the web, any type of content, then it can establish me as an authority because we're feeding it exactly what it's expecting for the definition. So how far you take this is entirely up to you. It's an infinite process, because if I decide, hey, I'm trying to be the national authority on BLT sandwiches, and I need much more than just American cuisine and these 5 pages, I can then put these terms back into the software, or when I'm launching my software and I'm asking for an analysis, I can say, hey, give me many more terms, right? I could say, hey, give me 200 terms that are one hop away from BLT. Give me 25 terms to each of those 200. So, you can go crazy. Obviously, the more nodes you're extracting, the more data you're extracting and using, the more usage you'll have with your OpenAI API key. It's not super expensive, OpenAI. Most people have a hard time spending $20 a month. Guys like Rob and I spend hundreds of dollars a month testing all sorts of combinations, all sorts of subject matter. But it's just, how far do you want to push this? For most small businesses, I truly believe having 25 pages or articles of core content on your website, or 25 concepts that you then can go to social media and market with, or your pay-per-click advertising. You can hit pain points for those 25, most important or critical elements of your concept. It just makes your omni-channel marketing much, much easier. So that being said, the analysis module is that simple. You're basically just putting in a word that you're after, or a top level keyword, entity, idea, concept. You're telling it, hey, break this down into all of these, smaller parts so that we know exactly what to talk about in our content. So this module, the analysis module, will give you a golden blueprint that you can go to market with. It's not just based on SEO. It's a holistic approach. It's feeding that natural language processing, feeding the robots exactly what they need to hear, so you can run with this, because it's the most accurate content blueprint that we can give you, again, from a data science standpoint. So every other tool out there works to some capacity. I don't want to slight them. I don't want to tell you that, hey, you can't, use keyword clustering and come up with a great content strategy. I'm not in the market of doing well. I'm in the market of absolute domination. So if you're looking to dominate your industry, your niche, you want to be the top in, at what you do, this is the way to do it. This is the torch in the dark. This is the North Star. And again, we've programmed this to give you exactly what to talk about. So it's no longer a question. There's no longer hiring marketing teams and content strategists. This is what happens within the database, and this is what the robots are expecting of you. So with this information, you are now the best content strategist in existence. You can go out and execute this at whatever level you feel comfortable. And most importantly, if you're looking for an easy way to make money, you can sell these reports. We want you guys to sell these reports to clients and say to them, hey, we went out, we did all the research on your subject matter. That service that you're trying to be number one at, here is the blueprint to do it. Or that idea that you're trying to conquer, here is the blueprint to do it. You can easily recuperate our annual license cost in one report that you sell to a customer. Easily. And in fact, you'll make thousands, tens of thousands of dollars more if you run with just the analysis module. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have feedback, if you have questions, please reach out to us. You can go to our website at contentmaxima.com or reach out to us through AppSumo. If you go to the contact page, you can drop in a ticket. And if you have any of your questions, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. You can also read about our other solutions and modules that are going to be available for sale through AppSumo, as well as the website. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and I hope you give us a shot at Content Maxima. We're truly trying to change the game, and we have, because we've come at everything content related from a data science standpoint. We're no longer just going off of search results or, live results on social. We're taking that holistic approach to go after natural language processing, because we know all of big tech, regardless of the platform, is using NLP to determine if you're worthy and if your content is worthy of getting out there, ranking, going viral, creating impressions, getting followers, all of that. So if you're looking for that content North Star, please give Content Maxima Analysis a shot. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.